the assumption that we have read into the Rashi with respect to his commentary to Tofel v'Lavan and Zahav is predicated upon the position that each of the 7 items listed in this pasuk are place names, to which Rabbi Yochanan observed that the place name of Tofel v'Lavan cannot be found anywhere in the Chamishe Chumshei Torah. One might suggest, therefore, that Tofel v'Lavan is not part of the rebuke, and for this reason Rashi writes Hochichan al hadvarim, that in the mentioning of Tofel v'Lavan, although not a location, there was nevertheless a rebuke. In this case, the rebuke was for the complaints against the manna. By extension, the same logic can be applied to Di Zahav, in light of the fact that the location of Di Zahav cannot be found anywhere in the Chumash. We might have thought that its inclusion is not part of a rebuke. To counterbalance this line of thinking, Rashi opens the commentary with the words Hochichan. With respect to the referencing of locations throughout the Chumash, we have 2 options. One option is that the location was established well before a particular event, and its importance and/or notoriety gives it a historical significance on account of the event that took place. This pattern would be applicable to the 5 cities mentioned by Moshe in Pasuk 1. Bamidbar, Arava, Yamsuf, Paran, and Chatzerot. These locations are significant on account of the events that took place in these locations. Hence, when Moshe mentions Bamidbar, from his perspective, he would be referring to an event that took place in the Midbar. And so too with the other 4 items that fit into this category. There is, though, a second option that we find recorded in the Chumash, whereby from the Jewish historical perspective, a particular incident or event confers importance upon the location to the point that in perpetuity that location retains a reference to the particular incident. For example, Bereshit 11, we have the incident involving the Migdal Bavel, the Tower of Bavel, in which the text states, following the destruction of the tower and the dispersion of the city's inhabitants to other parts of the area, Al Kain Kara Shma Bavel. The city in which the tower was built was from that point in time onwards named Bavel, Kisham Balal Hashem Sfat Kol Haaretz, Bet Lamed Lamed, to thoroughly mix, thereby bringing confusion to the languages spoken by the then known world. The location was known as Bavel in Hebrew or Babylon in English. This is the Torah account on the derivation of the city of Babylon. Of course, as with Rome, Babylon became the center of a very large empire that ultimately destroyed the first Beit HaMikdash. A second example, the city of Be'er Sheva, in which a treaty was established between Avraham and the leader of the nation-state Gerar, Avimelech. As a result of the treaty, the pasuk informs us that Al Kain Karash Lamakom Hahu Be'er Sheva. The name given to that location was Be'er Sheva, in commemoration of the fact that Nishpu'u Shnehem. These 2 individuals, Avraham and Avimelech, Nishpu'u, swore an oath of non-aggression between them. The third example comes to us from Shemot 17, where Bnei Israel, after leaving Egypt, were faced with a problem of dehydration. They had no water, and as a result, Vayikra Shem HaMakom, Masa Umeriva. The location was named Masa Umeriva. Firstly, Meriva on account of the Riv, the dispute that Bnei Israel had with Moshe. Masa, a challenge to authority, a test, in which they questioned whether or not Hayesh Hashem Bekirbeinu Im Ayin. In light of the fact that we are presently in a situation where there is no water, is there really a God who is watching over our needs? Which brings us to the first challenge raised by the Rebbe in the SICHAH. Considering the fact that we have a precedent in which cities are given names on account of a particular event that took place, is it not possible that both Tofel v'Lavan and Di Zahav were actual locations that were given names on account of an event that took place in that particular location? And therefore, it brings us back to the original question, why was there a need for Rashi to introduce the commentary to these 2 locations with the words Hochichan? As with the group of 5, Rashi could have merely gone straight to the event, Tofel v'Lavan, Shetaflu al Haman shehu Lavan. They bickered around their food supply in the form of man, which was Lavan, white. And on the assumption that there is no superfluous information that Rashi includes in his commentary, one can ask why the introduction from Rabbi Yochanan, along with the inclusion in the end of Hochichan.